I've been curious in this whole process of writing the book, The Divine Design. Do you have a favorite story that's kind of behind the scenes story in the writing of the book?
Yes, I do. Um, I started writing the story a while back, and I didn't have a title. That bothered me terribly because I didn't have a title to the story. And I was just writing off and on, and I just wasn't sure whether God wanted me to spend my time on writing this book, but I didn't know what it was going to be about. I didn't have a title to it. And so I was just playing at it.
Yeah.
And then in 2012, we were invited to Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were over there, we were invited to go to a prophecy conference. And while we were there, we met with a group. And this group did not know who we were, didn't know our names. We were told not to react to what they say. And so we went into this room, and the people just were sitting there quietly. And then this one woman said to me, you're supposed to write a book now. And I almost fell off my chair. I couldn't believe that she knew I was writing a book. Mm-hmm. And she also, God had told her that I wasn't sure about the book. Mm-hmm. And when she made that statement, it was like, thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
Now I know I'm supposed to write this book.
I remember when you shared with me maybe the first couple chapters you'd invested in, and I don't think I even knew that you were debating on whether or not it was time to write the book and the investment that it takes to write that book, and all the things that we had going on in community and projects and so on, that it really was an investment to make. And when she said that, I got very encouraged also. I remember how amazing that was to me when she said that to you. And I took that as encouragement also. And I know that, people oftentimes report writer's block when they sit down on a project that's that big. And I remember that when we did start to do the writing of it together, I experienced the same thing that you did. It was like a supernatural experience of sitting down and writing, and it just flowed.
So that didn't happen for me until after this lady confirmed that I was supposed to go ahead with the book. Mm-hmm. And you're right. When we would sit down and write, I remember there was one weekend that we went away and we just wrote. Mm-hmm. And it was like I couldn't write fast enough. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know the same was for you, because we'd get together then and then read what we had written that day.
And it seemed like it just flowed naturally together. Yes, perfectly.
Yes.
So it was an amazing supernatural experience, even in the writing of the book. But and I guess that fits very well with the project that we took on, because the whole experience of community, these 15 years that we have done life together in community, has been a lot of supernatural experiences. And for me, living life in community, it was such an amazing experience of seeing the gospel come alive.
Yes.
I had always grown up in church, and I shared that in the book, and I always had a love for God. But when I began living life together in community with God's hurting people, and seeing His touch in the divine process of healing, and living life out together in that experience, it's been an amazing, amazing thing to watch.
We had a lot of quotes in the book from Dietrich Bonhoeffer, from Art Katz, as well as others. And I was wondering, is there any quote that you especially like, that you especially feel expresses what we do in community?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's so many by those two men. First of all, Dietrich Bonhoeffer lived community life
Yes.
back in the era of Nazi Germany, as many of you know. And the richness of what he wrote was profound in his book, Life Together.
Yes.
You
That's
can
an
tell
excellent
when
book,
you,
too.
when you can tell when you read that book that he truly did live community. People often ask me, the investment that it takes in community life, and it takes a lot of time and effort sometimes, and you wait for the fruit and the recovery process for people. Why do that?
They forget that the maturity process takes time,
It does.
and it is a form of discipleship.
Mhm.
We're discipling people.
Right.
And as we disciple them and they mature and become more independent, then, if they want, they go out.
Mhm.
And some have joined communities, others have started communities, others have gone back to school. We certainly have experienced a lot of that. So I think the question of time is probably one that we get asked a lot.
Yeah. The existence of any Christian life together depends on whether it succeeds at the right time in bringing out the ability to distinguish between a human ideal and God's reality, between spiritual and human community. The exclusion of the weak and insignificant and seemingly useless people from a Christian community may actually mean the exclusion of Christ. In the poor brother, Christ is knocking at the door. This quote by Dietrich Bonhoeffer really does express that well. When you think you're excluding the ones who seem to be that poor brother who is going to take a lot of your time and energy, you may be excluding Christ himself when you don't consider that life worth the effort and time it takes. And out of that comes in you what Paul wrote about how suffering produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope, and hope does not disappoint.